This is Sunday service from the Church of Scientology, Mission of Riverdale, 308 Broadview. My name is Mike Zahari. The topic we're going to take up today is what is greatness? And given the times of the situation in society right now, kind of an important thing to cover. So let's see what Ron has to say about this. The hardest task one can have is to continue to love his fellows despite all reasons he should not. And the true sign of sanity and greatness is to so continue. For the one who can achieve this, there is abundant hope. For those who cannot, there is only sorrow, hatred, and despair. And these are not the things of which greatness or sanity or happiness are made. A primary trap is to succumb to invitations to hate. There are those who appoint one their executioners. Sometimes, for the safety of others, it is necessary to act, but it is not necessary also to hate them. To do one's task without becoming furious at others who seek to prevent one is a mark of greatness and sanity. And only then can one be happy. Seeking to achieve any single desirable quality in life is a noble thing. One most difficult and most necessary to achieve is to love one's fellows despite all invitations to do otherwise. If there is any saintly quality, it is not to forgive. Forgiveness accepts the badness of the act. There is no reason to accept it. Further, one has to label the act as bad to forgive it. Forgiveness is a much lower level and is rather sensuous or critical as a thing to do. True greatness merely refuses to change in the face of bad actions against one. And a truly great person loves his fellows because he understands them. After all, they are all in the same trap. Some are oblivious of it. Some have got mad because of it. Some act like those who betrayed them. But all are in the same trap. The generals, the street sweepers, the presidents, the insane. They act the way they do because they are all subject to the same cruel pressures of this universe. Some of us are subject to those pressures and still go on doing our jobs. Others have long since succumbed and rave and torture and strut like the demented souls they are. To resave some of them is a dangerous undertaking. Were you to approach any ruling heads in the world and offer to set them free, as only a Scientologist can, they would go berserk, fry up their own private police, and generally cause unpleasantness. Indeed, one did. He was later assassinated by no desire of ours, but because of the incompetence of his own fellows about him. He could have used Scientology. Instead, he promptly tried to shoot it down by ordering raids and various berserk actions on Scientology organizations. That he was then shot had nothing to do with us, but only demonstrated how incompetent and how mortal he really is, or was. As we become stronger, we can be completely open-handed with our help. Until we do, we can at least understand the one fact that greatness does not stem from savage wars or being known. So today, you get people who are appointed as leaders of countries or where, because of the amount of wars that they've created, the amount of noise and upset they've created in a monetary system, it's a wrong way to gauge greatness. And yet we're currently using that, and we're holding these guys in esteem, high esteem, for the atrocities that they've committed. A little strange. I'll continue. It stems from being true to one's own decency, from going on helping others, whatever they do or think or say, and despite all savage acts against one, to persevere without changing one's basic attitude toward man. A fully trained Scientologist is in a far better position to understand than a partly trained one. For the Scientologist who really knows is able not only to retain confidence in himself and what he can do, but also can understand why others do what they do. And so knowing does not become baffled or dismayed by small defeats. To that degree, true greatness depends on total wisdom. They act as they do because they are what they are, trapped beings, crushed beneath an intolerable burden. And if they have gone mad for it and command the devastation of whole nations in errors of explanation, still one can understand why and can understand as well the extent of their madness. Why should one change and begin to hate just because others have lost themselves and their own destinies are too cruel for them to face? Justice, mercy, forgiveness, all are unimportant beside the ability not to change because of provocation or demands to do so. Now, this is an interesting sentence. So, if you have justice, mercy, and forgiveness after you've succumbed to an impulse exterior to change, then the mere fact of changing colors the justice, the mercy, and the forgiveness. If you maintain your own integrity and don't change just because somebody is enforcing or trying to get you to change, then the mercy, the justice, and the forgiveness are true because they're you. They're not via some other person's way of bending you to their will. Okay? So your integrity is important. That's the first thing. All right? One must act. One must preserve order and decency, but one need not hate or seek vengeance. It is true that beings are fail and commit wrongs. Man is basically good, but can act badly. He only acts badly when his acts done for order and the safety of others are done with hatred. Or when his disciplines, I'll give you that again, or when his disciplines are founded only upon safety for himself, regardless of all others, or worse, when he acts only out of a taste for cruelty. To preserve, I'll give that again. To preserve no order at all is an insane act. One need only look at the possessions and environment of the insane to realize this. The able keep good order. When cruelty in the name of discipline dominates a race, that race is being taught to hate, and that race is doomed. The real lesson is to learn to love. He who would walk scatheless through his days must learn this. Never use what is done to one as a basis for hatred. Never desire revenge. It requires real strength to love man, and to love him despite all invitations to do otherwise, all provocations and all reasons why one should not. Happiness and strength endure only in the absence of hate. To hate alone is the road to disaster. To love is the road to strength. To love in spite of all is the secret of greatness, and may very well be the greatest secret in the universe. Interesting. All right, I'm going to close with the Creed of the Church of Scientology. I think this is particularly appropriate given what it is that I've just read, and see what you think. We of the Church believe that all men of whatever race, color, or creed were created with equal rights. That all men have inalienable rights to their own religious practices and their performance. That all men have inalienable rights to their own lives. That all men have inalienable rights to their sanity. That all men have inalienable rights to their own defense. That all men have inalienable rights to conceive, choose, assist, or support their own organizations, churches, and governments. That all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others. That all men have inalienable rights to the creation of their own kind. That the souls of man have the rights of men, that the study of the mind and the healing of mentally caused ills should not be alienated from religion or condoned in non-religious fields, and that no agency less than God has the power to suspend or set aside these rights overtly or covertly. And we of the church believe that man is basically good, that he is seeking to survive, that his survival depends upon himself and upon his fellows and his attainment of brotherhood with the universe. And we of the church believe that the laws of God forbid man to destroy his own kind, to destroy the sanity of another, to destroy or enslave another soul, to destroy or reduce the survival of one's companions or one's group. And we of the church believe that the spirit can be saved, that the spirit alone may save or heal the body. All right? So that concludes today's Sunday service. See what you can do with what is greatness, and when you're out dealing with your fellow man, find something about him that you could like. He's in a situation not always of his own creation, and he cannot always see the way out of it, and he sometimes needs a helping hand. And a helping hand has to have some love or compassion behind it before it'll be grasped and listened to. Otherwise, you're just somebody else who's trying to hold him down, in his opinion. Okay? See what you can do with this. I wish you well. Thank you.